Yggdrasil is the name of an immense cosmic tree that serves as the connection between the 9 worlds in Norse mythology. Known as the World Tree, or Tree of Life, Yggdrasil was said to lie at the very center of the universe, supported by 3 roots which extend far away into varying locations, one being Tubi-Tuti. Construction of this tree and the structures around it took years to complete, and the story behind it is very unique. From smelting over 140,000 sand to the owner of Tubi-Tuti, Housemaster, visiting the monument. This is the story of Yggdrasil and how it inspired many players to build bases all across the server. The story begins in January of 2015. DocSmurf and Sugaha were at their group base named Spruceville. After losing interest, they said goodbye to their basemates and ventured away from their base to attempt to build the first fully operational Guardian farm on Tubi-Tuti, as it was a new structure in Minecraft version 1.8. On January 26th, they found a suitable place after some exploration and began construction. In order for it to work, they had to drain the water from the Guardian farm using sand so that the Guardians would spawn in water cages at the top before falling to their doom. After that, hopper minecarts would gather their mob drops and then send them through an item sorting machine. However, this was not a simple task. DocSmurf and Sugaha had to deal with the server's low ticks per second, or in short, TPS, for about a month, which made sand placement incredibly slow and challenging. In the end, the Guardian farm paid off. They were able to get around 1,000 item drops an hour under 10 TPS. However, Housemaster, the owner of Tubi-Tuti, made a visit to the Guardian farm not long after it was established. Housemaster, under his alternate account named Server Operator, was at the farm one day while DocSmurf was there. He was on his way to see how much lag the hopper minecarts and Guardian spawns were causing to the server. In the end, it wasn't too horrible. He lingered around the base for about 15 minutes before slaying himself back to spawn. Both DocSmurf and Sugaha would AFK on Tubi-Tuti for a few months, enabling the Guardian farm to amass resources, before losing interest and leaving the server in June of 2015. After the loss of their previous group base, Spruceville, on February 3rd, 2016, the players Sickness Man and Daladev joined the Guardian farm. Tubi-Tuti also updated to Minecraft version 1.9 around the same time. However, this resulted in the Guardian farm to no longer work. But why? Because of a minor world generation change, all versions of Minecraft after version 1.8 no longer consider that location to be a valid Guardian temple spawn. As a result, when Tubi-Tuti updated to Minecraft version 1.9, the Guardian farm's temple flag was lost forever. Over the course of Sickness Man and Daladev joining, the group came up with the eventual idea for a tree monument. They planned to surround the tree with biomes, as well having it float on a small island suspended by its own roots. DocSmurf and Sickness Man were in charge of the project's design, while Daladev and Sugaha were responsible for most of the resource gathering, enchanting, tool maintenance, and smelting that allowed for a steady stream of resources. Yggdrasil was largely made in a single-player world download of the location with world edits, and then manually moved across Tubi-Tuti with 2 Minecraft windows open at first. Later, DocSmurf discovered Schematica, a Minecraft mod that displayed a hologram of a specific building. However, the process of building the monuments was extremely slow, and setbacks made construction even slower. Sometime around May of 2016, lightning on the server was re-enabled, and the tree, which was mostly branches at that point, suffered a direct hit and its left half burnt to the ground. Undeterred, a plan was hatched. A glass dome would be created over the monument. In single player, DocSmurf used world edits and a command called H-Sphere to install the glass dome, coming in at 317 blocks in diameter. To create it on Tubi-Tuti, they would need over 147,850 glass blocks. The group already had a serious lack of resources, so how were they going to obtain that much glass? Near Yggdrasil was a massive desert. The group would slowly gather the sand and use smelters to turn the sand into glass. Normally, the server's TPS was 11. Considering that the average Minecraft server has a TPS of 20, smelting the sand took nearly twice as long for each sand block. After months of gathering sand, the dome was finally complete. The dome biosphere was the most ambitious construction project the group had ever attempted. It contained a tree, which had thousands of harvested wood and leaves, 8 hand-terraformed biomes, and a big inner and outside stone brick wall, estimated to be over 90,000 stone bricks, with much of the Guardian Farm's prismarine embellishing places below the waterline. Months would pass before the monument was ultimately completed in May of 2017. FitMC, a 2B2T YouTuber, would tour the monuments and show it to the public. Many players were taken aback by how magnificent the base appeared. For a while, DocSmurf and the crew would go on to other projects, and Yggdrasil would be dormant for a long time. Only one player was invited to visit the base while it was inactive, and another that found it. These players were Turban and Sun Wukong. When Sun Wukong found it, he told DocSmurf he didn't grief the monuments and never leaked the coordinates. After a few years, DocSmurf returned to the monuments in single player in 2021 to make a large size increase to the tree in order to bring it up to par with the group's latest creations. Plans were to implement it to 2B2T. However, important news to DocSmurf caused plans to come to a halt. A longtime friend of DocSmurf named Henry would tell him that Nerds Inc. had coordinates to Yggdrasil. But how was this possible? Well, this all stumbled down to a major server exploit created by the nerds, which is ultimately known as the no-com exploit. I will talk about this exploit in another major video soon, but in summary, it allowed the group to ask 2B2T is to block at this coordinate in a currently loaded chunk and get an immediate yes or no answer. As DocSmurf was part of another group called the Spawn Masons, a conversation between a Nerds Inc. member named Leijurv and some Spawn Mason members took place. Leijurv was doing the Spawn Masons a favor by checking large or vague areas of the map to let them know which bases or stashes were compromised by no-com or not. Henry asked Leijurv about DocSmurf. Leijurv would send the coordinates of what they had. Henry would message DocSmurf that the nerds had the coordinates to Yggdrasil. Knowing that the base was compromised, DocSmurf griefed the base right after getting hard confirmation that its position was known by the nerds as the result of the no-com exploit. Today, Yggdrasil is blown up. DocSmurf has no immediate plans to build a base on 2B2T, but he may be working on bigger and more marvelous projects that will probably be documented in the future. If there's something to learn from Yggdrasil, it's that nothing lasts forever. But what good is a base that goes on forever? Yggdrasil would have been discovered someday, so instead of viewing the grief as a negative, consider it as a positive transformation. Future endeavors become conceivable as a result of the grief, which would not be feasible if the base lasted forever. In the time we have, live life to the fullest.